Rajasthan, I'd like to begin with you. And I don't mean to, make this sound extremely far-fetched, but is this the death of Bollywood? I started off talking about how big these two stars are. Years ago, there was so much hype about any of the films releasing. Today, empty theatres.
Well, I think the public is not ready to accept mediocrity in the name of cinema just because it has stars attached. I think for the last 10, 12 years, we had gotten into a bit of a holding pattern where big stars, regardless of what the film is like, regardless of the script, were churning out movies and people were going for these opening weekends. They were packing the theaters. I think that pattern has definitely changed, and I think film stars will have to work harder and earn back the audience's trust by choosing good projects, by choosing films that really, activate an exciting word of mouth. But is Bollywood dead? I really do think those rumors might be a bit exaggerated.
But, the numbers speak for themselves. When was the last time Bollywood actually delivered a hit? I think it was the Kashmir Files.
No, there was Gangubai, and then there was the biggest hit of this year, which was, the Bhool Bhulaiya 2. So I think public is interested in movies. I think, of course, the South films are doing well, definitely. I think a lot of the the Hindi movie stars might have become complacent, and they have been choosing films just which are meant to make them look good as opposed to films that might actually be good. But I think it'll just take one hit. One hit is all it takes to change this tide and stop this naysaying.
But that's what people thought Bhool Bhulaiya 2 would do. That's clearly not the case. But you made an interesting point about content being supreme, and that's perhaps a message the audiences are trying to set out. Let me open this up further. Shubhrashtra, Laal Singh Chaddha and Raksha Bandhan, both of course have been mired in controversy before they were released. Some said that maybe it's an attempt to create some publicity. But clearly, at least going by the numbers, maybe this boycott trend has worked.
Yes, I think partly what Raja said is true, partly what you say is also true, but I also feel that, over the past couple of decades, I think, we've started giving too much importance to actors and directors beyond their craft, which is of either filmmaking or acting. And I think which is why certain sense of, this sense of ideological fidelity that perhaps came with it, and the tussle that has sort of happened on social media with more democratization of space, these are all these ingredients which are now coming to the fore, and we see the kind of response that we do. Now, for example, with respect to Laal Singh Chaddha, I haven't watched the film. I don't intend to watch the film, and it is nothing to do with the whole intellectual idea of boycott at the moment. It is mostly to do with the fact that as a student of literature, I have never really been excited by the idea of any adaptation by far. So I'm not going to do, I'm not going to waste my money and time on in going to a theatre and spending those couple of hours watching a movie watching the remake of a movie which I find is iconic. Also look at the context. The context of Vietnam War cannot be replicated in Laal Singh Chaddha. But as I said, and as Raja also said, I think the whole idea of actors taking center stage, their personalities taking center stage, and this assumption that whatever they'll touch, whatever they are going to enact is going to be the holy grail. That I think that myth has broken, and that will continue to break. On the whole question of boycott, I do feel that yes, it is far too much to call for a collective boycott of any product, whether it is by any actor or any director. But I also feel that the whole idea of boycott comes from a certain sense of democratic freedom. There are actors out there who put out their performances. They are not performing for themselves or a clique. So when you put out yourself out in the public domain, then public is going to react the way they react. So why to take this thing so personally? I've been watching a couple of Bollywood actors and directors reveling in the fact as if, having the tag of a boycott really goes on to say a lot about their intellectual smartness. But at the end of the day, they're also trying to vie for commercial success.